Hello, you're welcome to today's video. This is a continuation of the I Am, I Lack series, and this week we're going to explore I Am a Pushover and how you can find your inner power. If you're new to this channel, you're very welcome. If you're coming back, it's great to see you. I'm Anand and I'm an emotional wellness and embodiment coach, and I support those weighed down with inner struggles. So this can be anything to do with procrastination, lack of motivation, not liking yourself, not believing in yourself, or feeling that you're being pushed around. And that's what I want to explore in today's videos. And how you can find your inner power to be firm and grounded in who you are and push back when needed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this feeling of I am a pushover. Then I'm going to share a personal experience that I had with this in a very surprising place. And then just a couple of ways that you can start to find your inner power that works for you. And perhaps ways that you can explore this further with me. So what do I mean by I am a pushover? If you have experienced in your life that continuously your boundaries are pushed, whether that's in work, with friendships, in relationships, even being out on the street, down to as much as being physically pushed over, and you have this self-belief that says, I'm a pushover, I'm a doormat, I let people roll over me, or I roll over and let people stomp on me. It's a very difficult place to be in. It's extremely uncomfortable. Certainly doesn't feel very empowering, and you may feel like I'm weak, I'm just having to hide yourself away from the world, being stuck in a place of hiding away, or being almost, there's a word, acquiescent, meaning to almost be servile. And a part of us really doesn't feel very comfortable being in that space of, I'm a pushover, I'll just give in, I'll let the other, anything for a quiet life, just leave me alone. It's not from a space of power, but it's also very difficult to get out of it if this is a long-held belief. And it can actually happen particularly for people who've been bullied or who have grown up in an environment where they were dominated. So it's really, really difficult. And if that's you and you've never received any support or therapy, that's certainly a way to go. And let's say you've done therapy, but you still find that you're being pushed around in whatever context that happens for you. This is where coaching can help, where you can reframe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share how you can reframe that from a personal story of my own. I learned how to push back in the most unlikeliest of places, in a meditation resort centre. You wouldn't think you'd learn about that there. And what happened for me was I was doing a morning Tai Chi class, and we would do these warm-up exercises. And one of the warm-up exercises was you were partnered up with someone and you would rest your wrists against the other, and you would kind of gently, playfully push back and forward against each other. And one of the key tips that the facilitator shared was you really ground yourself in your feet and ground yourself in your hara, which is 2 inches below your belly button. This is your center. This is where, I've talked about this in other videos, where you really, that's your source. So you ground yourself from there down into your legs, down into your feet. And I didn't hear this properly. I wonder why. And the person, this woman, she she pushed me. She pushed me, and I was right off my, like, I tripped over. And in my mind, I was like, bitch, like, what? And I kind of pushed back, but I was really scared. And we're pushing, and she kept pushing me. And then she said, you push me. So it was an invitation for me to push back. And then I went to my mind, I can't do that. That's not very nice. So I pushed. It was when I moved from aggression to submissiveness in a space of less than a minute. So I could really feel the two polarities. And I pushed her back, and I felt very scared pushing her back. And she laughed, and she smiled, and then she pushed me back, and then I pushed her back. And then I went, this is a play, this is a game. And so I really rooted down into my feet, and I pushed back, and it became this play. And at one point I knocked her off her feet, and she laughed, and we enjoyed the moment. But it was one of the greatest gifts I have ever received, because in that moment I learned how to push back. And the funny thing is that the year ahead for me, this was a few years ago, I needed to stand for myself against something that was really very difficult for me. I had to stand for my rights in something. And that little meditative exercise gave me the inner power, the knowing in my body of how to push back. And yes, when the situation arose, it was 6 months after that. Initially, I went into submission where something was being pushed back on me that wasn't mine to take. And I remember for a day or so lying in the bed, just collapsing. If this is you, where I'm a pushover, you might find yourself that you collapse and you lie in bed, or you hide away, or you numb out on different activities, or you just go, okay, anything for the quiet life. Yeah, whatever, you do whatever. You might do that initially, and that's okay, but it's to catch it. So what I did then is I caught myself. I was in this collapsed state, and I went, I don't have enough information here on what's happening to me. So I gathered information. And if you're finding yourself being pushed over, gather the information for yourself. Journal it down. Where are you being pushed? What area of your life? And you might say, well, actually, I'm being pushed around on the street. I'll talk about that one in a minute as a closing takeaway. I'm pushed around on the street because I suffered that one too. Or I'm pushed around in work and people are putting too much work on me and I'm expected to do it. Now, this does link in with an earlier video I talked about where you might be people pleasing. This one can be interconnected, so check that video out there as well. But see the area in your life, gather the information. Where am I being pushed about? So in my situation, it was a work situation. I was being pushed around on something. I gathered the information and I did it in a manner that was detached, like it was happening to somebody else. And when I documented and I did a timeline, that's when I saw, whoa, this isn't me. I'm not doing these things. This is something that's being done to me. With that intelligence or information, I was then able to counteract the things that I was being told that I was doing. And I was able to respond and say, well, actually, it's this. So in that exercise, the push-pull exercise, I was pushing back, saying, no, it's this, and this. They pushed back harder. I pushed back. But I didn't push back in a way that was aggressive. I pushed back in a way of, here's the information. Now, they weren't willing to see it, and there's nothing I could do about that. So eventually it came to an agreement of agree to disagree. But I stayed rooted, knowing with the facts what I was pushing back on. Now, I'm being a little evasive because I can't discuss the issue fully. There's some confidential elements to it, so I'm afraid I have to be vague. But what I drew from this experience was, 1, after I saw myself collapse, I observed it. 2, I gathered data, information on what was actually happening. I addressed it with the other. It wasn't received. It often isn't, and that's where you can find yourself recollapsing again and being pushed over. But again, you might push back, but you do it with a smile, with dignity, with care to the other. And then you come to an agreement of, in this case, we came to an agreement of agree to disagree and let it go. So how can you move from being a pushover to gaining your inner power? Well, first of all, you're not a pushover. Circumstances may have placed you in a situation where you were dominated or taken over or bullied or whatever. So first of all, saying I am a pushover, you're identifying with that. So I would reframe that to X experiences happened to me. I responded in this way, but I know how, or I'm willing to find my inner power so I can gently push back. So first of all, reframe from I'm a pushover to I have inner power and strength that I'm going to access. So then the question is, well, how do I access my inner power? Well, first of all, get rooted. I mean that genuinely. In your body, get rooted. Get rooted in your feet, get rooted in your legs, get rooted in your belly. I'll put a link into some meditations that will help you with that. Meditation can help. Journaling can help. Feeling into your body. Using somatic exercises into your body. Feel your belly. Feel your power, because that's where it resides. And get grounded. Feeling yourself grounded in the earth. Because when you do that, you feel more sure of yourself. Trust your inner voice. Trust that when something feels off, you're probably right and it's not you. Check out the people-pleasing video, because there'll be some stuff in there that can help. And get the facts. Get the facts of the situation. Try to disentangle your emotions in this situation and see, right, well, this is happening, and almost like become detached. That's what I found very helpful. And that gives you information, and from there you can respond, not react. So I hope this is a starting point for you to reframe I'm a pushover to I'm a person gaining inner power. And the beauty of this is that it grows. So I will see you in the next video, where we'll explore some more I lack or I am. Thank you. Bye-bye.